Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Starboars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
The Dorky Diva Show presents
Why is this seat so much more comfortable?
the long-awaited sequel to the adventures of the Zolan Dart audio drama.
Have you seen the captain's datapad?
Trying to work, Murph.
Piloting the Zolan Dart by himself,
You do understand the details of this particular job, correct?
I've been on plenty of jobs like this. With you!
Reldar Sias returns to a planet he thought he'd left behind for good.
Is there a reason you didn't mention I was tagging along?
Hopefully having you there will make others think twice about messing with me.
Making new friends
Oh, you must be the pilot of the Zolan Dart, yes?
I guess I am.
and reconnecting with old ones,
Reldar?
Vera?
What are you doing here?
until past grudges resurface.
I'd be minding my own business if I were you.
Well, if your business wasn't being handled right in front of my face, maybe I could mind my own business. We have to leave. Now.
Why the rush all of a sudden?
We're in trouble.
If it isn't little Reldar Sias.
Hey, Yorick. Long time no see.
Roz already knows you're here.
Oh,
Look who decided to come home.
Reldar must confront his origin,
I must admit, I never saw this as being a part of your past, Softshell.
or let it define his future.
I will get what is owed to me, no matter the cost.
because what Roz is trying to do is wrong.
Says you.
My blasters, we're going to need these. Take that, Sleemo!
Who do you think you are?
The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, Episode 2, coming soon.
Welcome to Starboars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete,
And I am Jason Hondo Ling.
and we are back with a brand new episode of Star Wars to deep dive and get sweaty about all the latest Star Wars news. And there is some very juicy Star Wars news. But first up, let's go to you, Jason. How are you doing, mate? You doing all right?
Yeah, well, good, thanks, Pete. Just about recovered from Christmas and COVID. So yeah, back in the land of the living. And looking forward to another year of Star Wars goodness.
Christmas and COVID. That sounds like it would be a brilliant Hallmark movie title, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be one out eventually.
They will indeed. It'll be like True Love, and they'll have to stay in the same house because of COVID, and then they'll fall in love or something, and then Santa will give them presents. That'll be the storyline. But then one of them will have an office job in the other side of the country or something, and then you know how those things happen.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let's just
cheesy.
dive straight in. So obviously we got an announcement out of the blue. Lucasfilm announces a new movie. It is called the current title is The Mandalorian and Grogu, and it is to be directed by Jon Favreau. So this is not one of the previously announced movies. Obviously, at Star Wars Celebration last year in 2023, we got 3 movies announced. One was a continuation of Rey's storyline from the sequel trilogy. One was a Origin of the Jedi story, going to be directed by the director of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And the other one was a Dave Filoni movie, which was probably going to tie up all of the Mandoverse stuff going on, possibly into Heir to the Empire. So this is a 4th movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and we're being told that they're embarking on a new adventure. It's directed by Jon Favreau. It's produced by Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni. And it's going to go into production later this year, which is pretty crazy. which to me, two things. I think number one, obviously, we were talking at the end of last year. There was rumors that something Star Wars was going to go into production around April. So this says later. So I'm assuming this isn't that project. So either those rumors just aren't true, or we might have 2 Star Wars movies in production maybe this year, which would be fantastic. So yeah, and then one other thing, obviously in the press release for this announcement, it was quite cool. So they sort of led with The Mandalorian and Grogu will lead Lucasfilm's ongoing feature development slate, including films helmed by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. So that is the Rey movie, James Mangold, which is the Dawn of the Jedi movie, and Dave Filoni, which obviously is the tying up the Mandoverse, possibly here at the Empire type movie. And it also had a sneak peek. It said who is also currently developing Ahsoka season 2 among those in the works. So a lot of diving. Let's talk about the movie first. Sort of, obviously, we weren't expecting this. So, what was your thoughts on us getting a 4th movie announcement, and also the fact that it's the Mandalorian and Grogu, and also the fact that it's going to go into production this year?
Yeah, no, it all sort of fell into place and makes a little bit of sense to me. All last year there was a lot of rumours floating around that because obviously Favreau had said that he'd written season 4 of Mando, and then it all went very quiet because of obviously the strike and everything. I'm, I wonder if this is season 4 of Mando is going to be amalgamated into this movie. One, because of obviously the restraints of getting something moving forward after the strike. Two, because obviously Bob Iger has said that he wanted to move away from the series sort of stuff and back to the films sort of thing, moving away from the Disney Plus. Obviously bringing the films to Disney Plus, but having the theatrical side of it as well. And also, obviously, with Pedro Pascal being linked to so many different product projects and everything, I can just imagine it would be slightly easier to get him to go for a feature film than it would be to commit to a series. It all made sense to me, and I think that's a clever play. Obviously, then the announcement that Ahsoka season 2, which was sort of a no-brainer, um, that that was good news, and something else to look forward to, which also I think is possibly the way they might move forward with the series side of things for Disney Plus. But also, obviously, I think wonder if it is then. By the sounds of it, Filoni's film is going to come after they've done this season 2 of Ahsoka. That's the rumours that I've heard floating around and everything, which would make perfect sense. And I think it would give Filoni a chance to obviously, do a second season building up for this big set piece that I think we're all dying to see.
Yeah, I think two things. I mean, we'll dive into Ahsoka season 2 as a separate talking point, but I think that would have been announced had the strike not been in play when this Ahsoka season 1 came out. I think that would have been announced as being in development, but they couldn't because of legal reasons, because of the strike. I think this announcement just allows them to do that in a nice little Easter eggy type way. So it's really cool. I think the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger's back in charge. I think they definitely want content Disney Plus because there's so much money sunk into it, but they're also the bread and butter comes from movie box office, and movie box office across the world for every company's been hit and miss lately. Some movies are missing the mark, especially since the pandemic. But there is success out there. If you look at what Barbie did, if you look at what Oppenheimer did, so cinema isn't dead, but you need to get it right. So I think Bob Iger says, if we can get Star Wars back into theaters, we haven't had a Star Wars movie in theater since 2019. So when it gets to this December of this year, it'll be 5 years since we had a Star Wars film in the theater, which is crazy when you think about how many we've had in the last 10 years, if that makes sense. So I can see why it's a priority, and I can see why, if this was ready to go, whatever story arc they've done, I wouldn't have maybe the full season wasn't written for Mandalorian season 4, but like the template was, and they've had to stop during the strike because obviously not right, and now back it's like, well, actually, right, let's just fast track this into a movie. We've got the outline there, we can condense it into a movie. Let's go with that. And obviously John Favreau with a movie budget, making a movie. I think he's a exceptional director if you look at his movies. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me. Obviously, you got Grogu in the title, the Mandalorian and Grogu. So it's gonna be more about, last time we seen them, they were chilling on that house on the outside of that house had been given, which was pretty cool. So yeah, a lot to be excited about, and obviously, again, so this is an additional movie to the 3 already announced. So really, this could go into production this year. And then also, if one of the other ones does, maybe the Rey movie, because that one seems to be the one that's moved along the longest, the furthest even. And then and I think Dave, people saying, "Oh, like Dave's isn't in production yet. That means it's not happening." It's like, well, no, like they're not going to release like 3 movies in the same year or 4 movies in the same year. They'll space them out. So really, Dave's got more time to tell more of this Mandoverse, more of this Ahsoka verse, all ties in at the same timeline in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. So I think Ahsoka season 2 will come before Dave's movie, because I think Dave's movie's going to wrap it all up. And I think, we'll get this Mandalorian movie and we'll get the Rey movie before Dave's movie, if that makes sense. And that's right, because we should space them out and feast on these one a year for the next, 3 to 4 years, hopefully. But yeah, exciting times. I wonder what your thoughts are on, I suppose, do you think we will see Pedro Pascal's face in the movie? And do you think we'll see any other Star Wars known characters in the movie?
I think if Pedro's involved, which I'm pretty certain he will be, then yeah, I think that'll be one of the things that he'll want, is to actually have a bit of FaceTime. So yes, I think we will. I'm hoping that it could even go, we could see obviously Bo-Katan. We could see more of Mandalore. But who knows? Who knows what Favreau's cooked up? It is a Mando and Grogu adventure, so he could decide, right, I've done the bit with the Mandalorians. Um, let's move on and take them on a different type of adventure. But that's the beauty of Star Wars. There's so much scope for where it could go to. That until it appears on screen, we'll just have to wait and see.
Do you think we'll see Luke Skywalker?
Not sure. J- as I've said before, I would like to see more Luke Skywalker. I still would love to see something done with Sebastian Stan. I've been banging this drum for quite a while now. I love the idea. Um, I love the idea that we could even see, if we had the adventures of a younger Luke with Sebastian Stan taking on the role, that would give room then to possibly introduce the character of Mara Jade and give us a bit more depth to Luke, and bring in some more of the concepts from Heir to the Empire and stuff like that. So that's my personal. I'd probably say I'd like to see Luke turn up more in the Ahsoka side of things, possibly with Thrawn. But who knows? As I say, it's in the hands of Filoni and Favreau. The one thing I will say is they haven't let us down much recently. So I think it's exciting times.
Yeah, I mean, just to talk about the excitement, Favreau was quoted as saying, "I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created. The prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting." And then Kathleen Kennedy was quoted as saying, "John Favreau and Dave Filoni have ushered into Star Wars 2 new and beloved characters, and this new story is a perfect fit for the big screen." So exciting times. I will say this: I think if Pedro's going to be difficult to lock down for the next couple of years, I can see the end of this movie being the Mandalorian dying to save Grogu.
Yeah, yeah, definitely could be a possibility.
But if it's done the right way, that could be a deep, deep emotional, tragic moment, which Star Wars is full of. So I would certainly welcome that if it's done the right way. And again, if he's not going to be available, then what better way? And it sort of then adds up to what we see in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The Mandalorian's helmet and spear on the wall in Doc Ondor's Den of Antiquities, which I believe is canon. So, yep.
Yep.
Indeedy. And that is set before the events of The Rise of Skywalker, I believe, in the Disney park. But yeah, any closing thoughts on The Mandalorian and Grogu?
Just really excited. Looking forward to see what Favreau's cooked up. I'm sure with Favreau there will be plenty of, fan excitement and added bits. I would hope that we'd see Grief Karga. And yeah, and then obviously moving forward from that, there's just more Star Wars goodness to stretch.
Indeed. And speaking of The Mandalorian, obviously it is available on Disney Plus in its entirety. Although, as we've seen with the streamers, they've been taking some things off here and there. I don't think they would take Mandalorian off, to be honest with you, but The Mandalorian Season 2 on 4K UHD Blu-ray Steelbook is available from Monday, I think. Monday, January 15th. Yep. So tomorrow, we're recording on Sunday the 14th. So yeah. So on January 15th, Monday, you'll be able to buy. Features all 8 episodes of the second series, along with 3 exclusive art cards and never before seen extras. So yeah, definitely cool little UK release. I believe season 1's already out if you want that. If you believe in physical media, which things are starting to come back around now, where maybe it's time to rebuy your physical media, depending on what happens. But yeah, so season 1's available now. You can get it at Amazon, Zavvi places that in the UK. I imagine Best Buy in America, wherever. And then season 2, I said, out tomorrow. So if you like your physical media and the sets do look pretty cool, I recommend going over to Jedi News, check out the article. You can see pictures of it, and the art cards look fantastic as well. And they've got some cool extra documentaries on there as well. Obviously, if you're American listening, you've already got season 2 because it came out on December 12th. But yeah, for those in the UK, we can get it tomorrow, which will be fantastic. Are you in the boat of buying physical media again, Jason, or are you still sort of waiting to see what happens?
At the moment, I don't tend to be. I had so much over the years, that I just ran out of space for everything. So I think really at the moment streaming is the way for me, and it's easy to access. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Although I do like a good extras piece, which is why I've always enjoyed the Gallery series on Disney Plus as well.
Yeah, I used to buy a lot of physical media. Like from being age 14, I had a paper around that. I just used to buy movies and watch all the movies and watch all the extras. So I've got quite a large collection. And then as I met my wife, and then we got a house, a lot of that went in the bin. Kept the good stuff, the Star Wars stuff, obviously, things like that. Kept all my Blu-rays, but haven't bought any in a while. But yeah, so I think my housing situation and keeping my wife happy will depend on how much physical media I get. But I mean, I'm not going to pull the trigger, but certainly a season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian would fit on my shelf without nobody knowing it was there. If that makes sense, it was blending, which would be pretty cool. A little trick of the light almost. But yeah, so that is out, and then moving on from that, obviously we've mentioned it briefly. Obviously, Ahsoka season 2 was cheekily confirmed during the press release for the Mandalorian and Grogu announcement, which was cool. And then off the back of that, a couple of days later, Lucasfilm officially shared another one of Dave Filoni's iconic sketches, and it is it is. It says the story continues with 4 dots, just like the Star Wars opening crawl. 4 dots. I always sign off things 4 dots. Sometimes people go, "Well, it's 3 dots." I'm like, "No, not in George Lucas as well. It's 4 dots, mate." So the story continues, 4 dots. And then it's a sketch drawn of one of the statues of and the name's totally blanked my mind right now. The
The
Mortis,
Mortis
sorry, yes,
statue,
Mortis.
yeah.
Yes, what the statues of the Mortis gods, and it's Ahsoka and Sabine standing on the finger looking out. Um, so yeah, came a day after the announcement. Piece of artwork from the chief creative officer himself, Dave Filoni. He's obviously showrunning and developing Ahsoka season 2, and it's Ahsoka and Sabine marooned on the planet Peridia, and it's an awesome piece of artwork. I don't know if you've seen it, Jason, but just what was your thoughts when you seen this artwork, and um, how excited are you? Even though we knew it was coming, we sort of knew it was coming, but we've had the little cheeky announcement, and then we've got this artwork which just double confirmed it. Ahsoka season 2 is coming, and hopefully we're getting more Anakin Skywalker as well. You know.
I have to admit, I saw the artwork, and I love Filoni's artwork anyway. And one of my favourite things that I've got here in my possession is the artwork from Rebels. So yeah, seeing that drawing, and I've actually seen someone that's done a mock-up poster using the drawing as a concept, um, which looks absolutely awesome as well. And I love the way that people then sort of adapt Filoni's work, and give it its own vibe, which is all part of being a creative. So I'm really seeing that artwork sort of showed me that yep, this is in work. Dave's brain is churning over everything. And as we know, I'm sure the story is already in his head. It just needs to be brought out and put into practice.
Yeah, I think from season 1 has a very clear story and a very clear ending point, which is the ending point is almost the beginning point for 3 separate stories. You sort of and it begins with sort of the search for Ezra, you know, and it ends with Ezra being in the known galaxy, ready to hunt down Thrawn, and they hear the Empire events ready to come, and it ends with Ahsoka and Sabine stuck in the unknown galaxy on Peridia, and it also ends with sort of Shin and Balin in sort of different positions to how they were at the beginning of the series. So almost 4 story arcs are going to come off the back of this. So I imagine in Ahsoka series 2, we might not see the Ezra and Hera stuff because they're in a different galaxy. That'll probably tie more into Mandalorian and more into Dave's movie, maybe. I think what this tells me, though, it shows you Ahsoka and it shows you Sabine on those statues where Balin was, and that says to me that they're tracking him and they're looking to stop him from doing whatever he's doing, trying to find this unholy, mythical superpower that he's looking for, and they're there to maybe stop him, hopefully. Which would be pretty cool. But yeah, the artwork, I mean, as you said, Dave's artwork is fantastic, and it is a little sketch, and it's fantastically detailed. But again, it's a sketch that like Dave probably did quite quickly, from what I've heard. But again, it's like it's up there with the level of imagination. I don't know if you remember, they did some. It was one of the top sets had like these drawings of Ahsoka from the Twilight of the Apprentice season 2 of Rebels finale. There was like a set of like I think it was like 6 to 10 cards. Fantastic artwork done, and like black and red. And this reminded me of that quite a bit, just the feel I got from it. But yeah, Ahsoka season 2. Obviously, if it's in the writing process and development now. I mean, it probably shoots early next year. Do you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It would stand a reason that would sort of give them time, obviously, to build it. And yeah, I think next year will be when we'll see that start filming.
And anybody who hasn't seen the sketch, like it went out on all the Lucasfilm, Star Wars, and Ahsoka socials, so you can check those out. But yeah, man, exciting stuff. Do you think we'll see Ahsoka and Sabine tracking down Balin and what he's doing?
Yeah, that seems to be the way it's headed. From like you say, from that artwork, that's that seems to be where that story's going. Obviously, like you said, the way Dave ended the series to me said he knew what he wanted to do. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly what we get to see, but and how they deal with the whole issue with Balin. Um, but I trust that it will be done with great respect for Ray's act, you know, character portrayal.
I saw something very cool the other day, so I'm not taking credit for it, but imagine someone like Russell Crowe taking on the role. That would be quite awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I saw that as well, and yeah, that is someone that could quite easily take on the role and do it justice. And you know what a buzz you could imagine Ray getting a huge buzz out of. Okay, my character was so important, they had to bring in an A-lister.
Yep. And then I've also seen Nick Offerman mentioned, obviously just fresh off his award for um, the character he played in The Last of Us, I think episode 4, which was a wonderful
Yeah,
episode. So there is some options out there. Plus, there'll be options that we haven't even thought of that, if they've got people that looking to cast. But yeah, and then do you think? Obviously, I think we're going to see a lot of Sabine and Ahsoka, obviously as the main characters, sort of maybe under the guidance of Anakin, tracking down Balin because he's looking for this power on Peridea. But I think we're going to get a continuation of Shin's storyline and where she is now. She's maybe head of these bandits and she's trying to figure out her place in the galaxy. She's been sort of abandoned by her master and by Thrawn, but isn't going to become a good guy either. But I think that could be really cool. I really enjoyed Shin's character, so I hope we do get more of Shin as well.
yeah, definitely.
Moving on from that, it's a bit of Phantom Menace news. So, obviously, I believe this year marks the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, which is pretty cool. Feels like 1999 was only a few years ago, but it's flown by. But yeah, this year celebrates the 25th anniversary of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, and what's happened is there is a going to be a 75-piece AAT, which is essentially the Trade Federation tank, Lego polybag, and that actually it's leaked. The image is leaked, and that's got this new logo created for the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, which I think to me tells one thing. Obviously, if they're doing this little promotion with Lego, means they're probably going to be doing more for it as well across other lines. So I'm glad they've got a logo because it probably means we're going to get Phantom Menace stuff across different lines. So I mean, have you seen the polybag? What's your thoughts on it? And do you think we'll get more Phantom Menace sets from Lego as well?
Yeah, I have seen the polybag obviously on the Jedi news site, and yeah, because of the way they've done the logo, I suspect there's going to be a range of 25th anniversary stuff, which obviously ties in because obviously that was when a lot of the Star Wars Lego started, as well, along with the Phantom Menace. So it's not just a big Lucasfilm thing; it's a big thing for Lego as well. For the partnership that they've had with Lego, obviously over that time.
Yeah, and I think obviously, so we're getting this poly bag. I imagine there'll be more Lego sets with the logo on, and obviously the logo will be used across different lines. So obviously, as previously announced just a few months ago, as we talked about on the show, I think we're getting a Padme Amidala and a Anakin Skywalker from the Phantom Menace in the Hasbro Black Series range. So obviously, we haven't seen the boxes for those, but I imagine they'll have this logo on them. And then also something else Phantom Menace related is, I don't know if you remember, I had a PlayStation 1 back in the day, but Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace was quite a cool game. Remember, I really enjoyed playing it when it came out. And it's been added to PlayStation Plus on January 16th. Obviously, just in time to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the first prequel film. And what they've said in their press release, Sony have said, use the Force and your wits to overcome challenges at every turn in this adaptation of the movie, originally released on PS1 in a non-linear storyline that includes key moments from Episode 1 and additional side quests. Travel to the exotic locales of Episode 1, battle hordes of enemies, and solve dozens of challenging puzzles. You'll obviously need to have an active PlayStation Plus membership in order to play Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, but that is available from Tuesday, January 16th. So really, really cool news there. Did you play the game originally when it came out, Jason?
I didn't. I'm terrible with computer games. And yeah, but the only Star Wars games I've really ever played are the Force Unleashed games.
So I remember the game is. I mean, you can probably watch gameplay now. It probably looks really clunky, and some of the stuff dynamics was clunky a bit, but it was almost like you could roam wherever you wanted, almost not like fully. So I remember the Tatooine levels with Qui-Gon. I would wander around Mos Espa like away from the missions. That was
Right,
like
yeah.
quite you, and it wasn't like fully immersive, but you could use your imagination as an early teenager and as a 10-year-old, and I could really like do stuff in my own brain there, and I was moving around. So I mean, I probably lost that ability a little bit now. I'd imagine if I tried it, but yeah. So that game like was a lot of fun for me when it came out. So to hear that it's now available on PS4 and PS5 for those with the memberships, especially in the 25th anniversary of the movie, I think that's really, really cool. Obviously, speaking of the Phantom Menace and it being the 25th anniversary, you know, we're probably going to get, like I said, we're getting Lego sets, probably going to get some Black Series figures, getting a re-release of the video game, which is pretty cool. What other merch, what other characters would you like to see merch of? Some Jar Jar, do you reckon?
It wouldn't surprise me if Jar Jar pops up. And um, I think we could see a bit more Qui-Gon stuff appear. Because obviously big character in the Phantom Menace. There's so much stuff that they could actually do. But I don't know. There's been some really interesting Lego or rumors come out over the last week or so, and none of them seem to have been about um, Phantom Menace, which surprised me. But you know, there's going to be so much merch with the 25th anniversary. I'm sure they're going to push a lot of stuff that way.
Well, I hope I get a giant Jar Jar face type mug. I want one of them. So that's what I like. I also wouldn't mind some sort of Jar Jar themed T-shirt because I love the Star Wars T-shirt. And then I would absolutely love a re-release of the movie in theaters for a little bit. Would be quite cool. Chance to see it on the big screen. Last time I saw Phantom Menace on
Yeah,
the big screen was for the 3D release. When they were going to do the whole movies in 3D before the sale of the company, which obviously they stopped doing that once Disney purchased Lucasfilm. So that was the last time I saw it in the cinema, was in 3D. And I've actually still got right here next to me the Phantom Menace Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace 3D glasses. I've got two pairs. So one of the actual like the pod racer goggle glasses for the 3D movie that are like shaped like Anakin's pod racer goggles. And I've also got a promotional pair of like Darth Maul Episode 1 normal 3D glasses in this little bag here. So cool memories of that, I suppose. Let's move into those Lego rumors. What Lego rumors have we heard? What's coming?
well, there's been some quite interesting ones. Obviously, one of the most popular kits that seems to be about is the Millennium Falcon. Obviously, there's been various different versions. And the latest rumor is that they're going to do a Dark Falcon. And it's going to have Dark Ray, Darth Vader in white armor, evil C3PO, evil Chewbacca, and even possibly a Darth Jar Jar, which sounds like a really cool, different concept. And you know, it it it's an interesting set if they do go down that route. Obviously, with like the mechs that they've done some quite different, moving away from the traditional sort of Star Wars models. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing exactly where that's headed. And yeah, quite possibly it'll be um time for me to buy another Millennium Falcon. The other thing that's been quite interesting is there's the rumor that they're bringing out a new version of the X-wing and the Tie Fighter, but with a difference in that you can swap the wings over, so you'll be able to put the Tie Fighter wings on the X-wing and the X-wing wing foils on the Tie Fighter. On the yeah, got confused there, but yeah, you get the idea.
That's a pretty cool play feature. I
But
think kids would love that.
yeah, I'm just going down through. I just had to look on Brick Fanatics. So currently, you could get obviously there was the AAT polybag. There's a Commander Cody, which is to be confirmed, but that's down as possibly May 2024. Phantom Menace Brickheads is rumoured for May. Obviously, we've had the Clone Trooper Battle Pack. There's a rumour that there's going to be Mandalorian, or this down as Mandalorian Season 3 Battle Pack. The Skeleton Crew ship is also expected. Millennium Falcon. This is the Millennium Falcon, and actually they've got a price point of €85, which is not bad. We got Tantive 4, Invisible Hand. These are, I should say that I think, as far as I know, these are sort of rumours, and being gauged from different catalogues that have been released. Boon to Eve Pod Race diorama. I think that has been confirmed for May. The Grogu speeder escape. Another R2D2, be buildable by the looks of it. Looks like a or a new version of the Sith Infiltrator. And a TIE Interceptor that looks like a UCS kit. Battle on Peridia set for August is one that's listed here. As I say, there's a lot. Oh, and that's one that I think is pretty much confirmed, is the escape from the Sarlacc pit, which I think has been taken from Boba Fett. And also a buildable C-3PO, which will be quite a popular one, I think.
I think so.
There's quite a lot of stuff. And the other one that's there that I think has been confirmed is Jedi Bob Starfighter.
All right. Price point that? Have we got that?
Price point for the Jedi Bob is €40, I think, or is it $40? $40.
It's about the same. And then moving on from Lego, I suppose we've had a Virgins in the Force. I think finally Mark Hamill's finally met Natalie Portman for the first time in their lives at the recent Hollywood gatherings that's been going on for the awards. Do you want to fill viewers in on the funny take of events?
Yeah, everyone loves Mark Hamill for a good tweet or social media post. And at the Golden Globes, he posted a photograph with Natalie Portman and basically said, I finally met my mother. And Natalie's spoken about it on the Jimmy Kimmel Live, where she said, I met Mark Hamill for the first time and he called me his mother, which was the coolest thing. It was the first time we had ever met. I had met Carrie Fisher before, luckily. She was such an icon of mine, and this was my first time meeting Mark. So yeah, it was typical, a fun thing to happen for the fans and for the actors, because obviously they're so linked in their characters and yet never met, for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's what I love is the way Mark Hamill loves playing with the audience, and I'm really enjoying at the moment that the fact that he's about so much, and is still really acting his socks off. I don't know if you saw the Fall and Rise of the House of Usher, but or the Fall of the House of Usher. That's right. But that was an amazing series, and Mark Hamill was one of the standout performances in that show.
So I haven't seen the show. It's on my list of things to do because I love the creator who creates those shows, and I love watching them. But I've heard he's brilliant. It's funny. Obviously, I've just found out this week that I'm possibly getting made redundant. I'm at risk. So I found out on Wednesday when I finally got home. I just wanted to watch a movie, so I put on The Last Jedi. Haven't watched it in a while, but absolutely loved that movie, and absolutely loved it again. In the emotion of what had gone on the day, maybe it was even more beautiful. But I just thought Mark Hamill deserved an Academy Award nomination for his role as Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. I feel as a not as a lead, but as a supporting actor. Fantastic movie and fantastic performance by Mark. That's what wraps it up from the news topics I had to talk about today, Jason. I don't know if there's any Star Wars wise you want to add.
Obviously, we haven't spoken since, I don't know if it came up on the New Year's program that you did with Kat and Ian. I sadly haven't managed to catch up with that yet. But there
That doesn't
was
exist,
obviously
just so you know.
Did we not do it in the end?
They weren't. They weren't available.
Sorry, COVID fried my brain and I forgot what everyone was doing. So, but yeah, so obviously one of the things that came out over the new year was the honours list, and Amelia Clark was awarded. I'm trying to remember what award she got now. I think hers was a CBE. I'm not sure now. Sorry, I'm just searching through the news here. But also one that went relatively unannounced, but was a big one for myself, having met the person in question, was Oliver Ford Davies received an honour as well. And I'm frantically trying to find what honours these two guys got for because the whole honours system is confusing. I know the honours system can be divisive, but when it's especially for someone like Oliver Ford Davies, I think because you will have seen him in so many things, including obviously the Star Wars prequels, and yet probably never realised who he was, and yet he is an amazing actor and always brings a huge amount of gravitas to the roles that he plays. And here we go. There we go. Yep, Amelia Clark was given an MBE for her um, for raising awareness about brain injuries, because obviously she had a rather serious brain injury many years ago and fought hard and luckily came through it. And then, yeah, Oliver Ford Davies was awarded an OBE for services to drama. So both of those, I think everyone will agree, thoroughly deserved, and nice to see two Star Wars actors getting some recognition.
It is indeed always good to see that. Have you purchased any more Galaxy Micro Squadrons from Jazzwares?
No, I haven't. I've had to be very good at the moment. COVID sort of hit me for 6, so but finances, I'm gonna have to be a good boy for a while. There's lots of stuff that I want to get. There's lots of Lego that I need to save up for. So it's gonna be this year. I'm hoping I'm gonna get to treat myself to a few little things. And one of them is I really want to get myself some Jedi robes sorted. So I'm setting myself a target to try and get that sorted for May the 4th. Because I've got a few things that I'd like to be doing on May the 4th this year.
Yeah, and if you get some Jedi robes, you'll probably need a lightsaber, so you can get a Xenopixel lightsaber from Jedi Archives. Obviously, they've restocked, so I don't know if they're available online or not, but definitely worth checking out the Jedi Archives UK store online to see if they are online. The sabers, I mean, they're definitely online because the store's there, but you can definitely get the brand new extended range of Xenopixel sabers from the store there in Dorset. So definitely check out Jedi Archives UK store.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to say, Ben has set up an awesome display, which you can see on their social media feed. And as far as I know, the majority of the sabers are available online as well. So yeah, there'll be I think there'll be a huge addition. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. They are all there. You've got some really awesome sabers, and also they're doing the saber stands as well, which is handy for if you wish to display, and also a hard case.
Awesome stuff. But yeah, I think that brings the end of the episode. Jason, where can the people find you on social media?
As always, at Hondo Ling.
And you can find me on Instagram and X, or Twitter as it used to be called, at Joy Jedi Pete. You can find the podcast on Twitter, or X is now called, at Boars Star. You can also find the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn at Star Wars Podcast. I just want to end with one final message. Sort of probably was a small amount of people, as we know, the hateful few, but they're very loud, obviously trying to be snobby about who can watch Star Wars and who can't, and who can enjoy it and who can't. Again, Star Wars is for everyone. It is certainly for women as well as men, as well as it is for everybody. And I just want to say, this podcast certainly would not exist without some of the awesome women that we have in fandom, not just in the Star Wars making of Star Wars and Star Wars characters, but actually in Star Wars fandom. I think Savannah Kifas, was a huge part of the reason why this Star Wars podcast is going. I think I look at Charlotte and Caitlin, who do Sky Talkers, which is the best Star Wars podcast on the planet, maybe the best podcast on the planet. And they're the reason why we strive to still make content, obviously because of how good they make content. And I could go on. This could go on. Christina Morse, who we've had on some of our Clone Wars episodes back when that came out. She currently does sound for Skywalker Sound. So very, very huge Star Wars fan, and now works at Skywalker Sound on. I don't know if they've done a Star Wars project yet, but she certainly just worked on the Indiana Jones Timelines documentary that's on Disney Plus. So I think Star Wars is for everyone, and if you don't think that, then you're probably an idiot. So you probably need to just try and re-evaluate your thoughts in life. And because it's for everyone, we're all going to have different opinions on Star Wars. I get that. Some of it we're going to like, some of it we're not going to like, some of it we're going to love. It's like different flavors of ice cream, different types of food. If you go to the buffet of Star Wars, there's lots there. But just because I like corn dogs and Jason might like lasagna instead, doesn't mean that both of us are wrong. So we need to listen to these people. Star Wars is for everyone. And one last message is that if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, please leave us a top review. If you listen on any of that type of podcast format, we are available on them all, I believe. Just leave us a top review, a 5-star review, whatever the top one is. It makes us smile for quite a long time, but only takes you a couple of minutes. And obviously a nice little review allows people to find the podcast and helps us book guests. But again, Jason, thank you very much for joining us. May the Force be with you. Listeners, thank you very much for listening. May the Force be with you. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Fearless Fred presents Mud 79, a fan-made Star Wars story, Season 2. The Empire stands on the verge of total defeat, its forces in tatters after a disastrous defeat at the hands of Separatist forces. The Imperial fortress of Camp Vibus has fallen. Spies have infiltrated High Command. secessionist forces slaughter anyone friendly to the Empire. But the Mudders of Platoon 79 will not yield. They will not break, no matter the odds. For the Empire! But all is not lost. The arrival of a new commander brings hope for success. But with him comes a tighter grip, because failure is not an option.
The Emperor doesn't tolerate such gross incompetence, and neither do I.
The shattered remnants of Imperial might are rallied against a relentless enemy.
Know that the Emperor watches over us, that we are the instrument that brings his peace to the galaxy.
Experience the galaxy and join the Imperial forces as Solomon Kwai and the rest of the Mud Troopers march headlong towards a war they might not survive.
Get down!
Lead the way. Enlist today. Fearless Fred presents Mud 79, a fan-made Star Wars story. Season 2 is available for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pack 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.